In a quiet village nestled between green hills and dusty roads, lived a girl named Yugochi. Her beauty was the kind that made even the birds pause to stare. Smooth dark skin that glowed like polished ebony under the sun, eyes as bright as morning stars, and a heart full of dreams. She was the pride of her parents, who raised her with love, discipline, and deep Christian values. But life, as it often does, struck unexpectedly. In the space of just 1 year, both her parents died, first her mother from a mysterious illness, and then her father, broken by grief. Alone and heartbroken, Yugochi decided to travel to the city to stay with her uncle, the only family she had left. When she arrived at the city bus park, with nothing but a small bag and a worn-out Bible, she was told something that shattered her spirit. "Your uncle? Ah, he don't travel go abroad 2 weeks ago." Oh. Tears streamed down her face. She had no money to return, no one to run to, and nowhere to sleep. She wandered the busy city streets, dodging cars and begging strangers for direction, until a sleek black car pulled up beside her. Inside was a woman dressed in expensive clothes, wearing a face full of makeup and eyes that knew too much about the world. "Hey, why are you walking alone like this?" the woman asked. Yugochi, too tired to pretend, poured out her entire story: her parents' death, her journey to the city, her stranded fate. The woman introduced herself as Chiamaka and said, "Get in. Come with me." Yugochi hesitated, but desperation has a way of silencing doubt. She followed Chiamaka to her house, a mansion so big, Yugochi's jaw dropped. Everything was sparkling, from the marble floors to the chandelier above. Chiamaka fed her, gave her clothes, and offered her a bed to sleep in. Days passed. One afternoon, Yugochi was admiring the house again and finally asked, "Auntie Chiamaka, please, how did you get all this money? I also want to have money. I don't want to suffer anymore." Chiamaka smirked. "I sleep with men for money," she said bluntly. Yugochi gasped. "Jesus! I can't do such a thing. My mother told me never to follow that path." Chiamaka looked her dead in the eye. "Where is your mother now? Didn't she die in poverty?" That night, Yugochi cried into her pillow. The words stung deeper than she expected. She thought of her dreams, her struggles, and the life she wanted. She was torn between morals and survival. By morning, with puffy eyes and trembling lips, she whispered to Chiamaka, "I have agreed. I'll do it." Chiamaka nodded. "Good. But remember, I take 40%. I feed you, clothe you, shelter you. That's the deal." Yugochi nodded. Her first client was an older man, excited to be her first. After their night together, he paid a large sum. Yugochi held the bundle of cash in her hand, torn between shame and excitement. It was more money than she'd ever seen. From that day, her life changed. Chiamaka introduced her to wealthy clients, high-profile men, some politicians, some businessmen, all willing to pay dearly for her company. Yugochi became a hot commodity. Soon, before you could sleep with her, you had to book weeks in advance. She eventually moved out of Chiamaka's house, bought herself a luxurious mansion, started driving flashy cars, and wore designer clothes. People started calling her Madam UG. One day at the mall, she bumped into her childhood best friend, Amora, who was with her 6 children and handsome husband. They screamed and hugged each other. Amora asked, Yugochi, you still look like a teenager. Where are your kids now?" Yugochi faked a smile. "I'm not married." Amora nodded and said, "Well, when God's time comes, it will be perfect." That night, Yugochi couldn't sleep. She stared at her ceiling, sipping wine, thinking of Amora's smiling kids. She was 38 years old with no husband, no child, no family, just money, loneliness, and haunting memories. "I'm done," she whispered. "I won't sleep with another man again." But the next day, her biggest client, a billionaire, called. When he mentioned the ridiculous amount he was offering, her resolve shattered. She accepted. It became a cycle: regret, promise, temptation, and fall. Until one day, she collapsed in her bathroom. She was rushed to the hospital, where the doctor broke the news. "You have a serious STD, one of the rare types. It has spread aggressively." Her friends vanished. Her clients blocked her number. She was alone in a white hospital bed, crying and begging God for mercy. Weeks passed, and as if touched by a miracle, she began to recover. She left the hospital, sold everything, and started attending church. One day, as she sat in church, a young man sat beside her. He couldn't stop glancing at her. After the service, he walked up to her. "Hi. I'm Jude. I've never seen you before." They started talking. He was kind, intelligent, and gentle. A few months later, he helped her get a job at an NGO, where she found a new purpose helping abused girls rebuild their lives. One evening, Jude took her out on a dinner date. The restaurant was beautiful. That night, under the moonlight, he knelt before her. "Yugochi, will you marry me?" Tears streamed down her face. She nodded. "Yes." Jude smiled. "I want you to meet my father before we start planning." The next day, they drove to a grand house. Jude handed her a glass of red wine while they waited. Moments later, a man walked out and Yugochi's world stopped. It was Chief Douglas. A former client. One of her most frequent ones. The same man she had once stolen a briefcase from while he slept. He pointed at her and shouted, "You thief!" Jude froze. "Dad! She's a prostitute." "This one? I know her well. And she stole from me." Jude turned to Yugochi. "Is this true?" She collapsed to her knees. "Yes, it's true. I did all those things. I was desperate. I was lost. But I'm not that woman anymore." Chief Douglas roared, "Before I open my eyes, take this woman out of my house." Jude's face was full of pain. "Get out," he whispered. "Just go." Yugochi ran out, humiliated and broken. The next day, she packed her things and relocated to another city. There, she joined a small local church and served faithfully. One day, as she was mopping the church floor, she bumped into a man Chibuza, a widower with a quiet smile and a warm heart. Weeks passed. Then one Sunday after service, Chibuza approached her. "I don't care about your past, Yugochi. I see the woman you are now. Will you marry me?" Tears fell from her eyes. "Why me?" "Because God writes the best stories," he said. 3 months later, they were married. She became a mother to his child, and soon they had 2 beautiful children of their own. Yugochi's past didn't define her. Her pain became her testimony. She now speaks at women's conferences, reminding them that no matter how far you've fallen, grace can still find you. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share for more interesting stories.